Good evening, precious friends. I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes because, I try to keep up with what's going on YouTube and the internet, especially with regard to human nutrition and the carnivore diet and stuff like that. I like to see what people are talking about. And I have noticed, you know, there'll always be a lot of argument going on around human nutrition. And that's pretty much because all the debate going on nowadays is pretty much about uh, long term health goals and longevity. And the fact of the matter is, we just really don't know exactly how one diet or another affects long term health goals and longevity. We just don't know. And part of that's because I believe the technology doesn't exist. I mean, until about 100 years ago, we didn't even really know how different micronutrients in food affected long term health goals. So that's really, really recent. The technology didn't exist until about 100 to 120 years ago. So the field of health via nutrition is really, really very young. And basically, what I wanted to say is if you're waiting to hear somebody tell you what to do, if you're unwilling to do the investigation and the N equals 1 experiments on yourself, if you're just waiting for somebody to come along and say, okay, do ABC, then you may wind up in trouble because, as I said, as a field of science, it's very new, newer than most people really realize. Things like the microbiome, gut microbiome, and the role it plays in digestion, and the role it plays in neurotransmitters, and all that, and the role it plays with, I mean, it apparently affects almost every system of the body, but how and why, we, we just simply don't know. So, you know, if somebody's telling you, oh, you have to balance your microbiome, yeah, they don't, nobody knows what a balanced microbiome means. If somebody's telling you, if you eat saturated fat, you will get a heart attack, no, we don't know that. If somebody's telling you if you eat a vegan diet, you will live longer, no, we don't know that. This individuals are so variable, and individual uh, sensitivities and injuries and strength and variability is so broad that one person can eat a particular range of food and apparently be in very good health, and another person can eat the same range of foods and fail, and their health can fail very quickly. And to this day, we know very little about why that happens. We know a lot about associations, so we can say that, you know, people with mental illness, a large proportion of them tend to get better when they stop eating plants. We're not really sure why, and we're not sure necessarily if it's adding the meat or taking away the plants. And we also know that some people who start a carnivore diet don't really get much benefit out of it, and therefore go back to a more standard diet, and they seem to do better on that. And we don't really know why that happens either. We do know
that highly processed food is strongly associated with metabolic disorder. That's pretty much what we know. And we have a lot of reason to believe that overuse of carbohydrates is problematic and engenders metabolic dysfunction. We have lots of reasons to believe that, but we just don't know enough to be able to say, if you eat carbohydrates, you will be sick. We do know that if you eat too much carbohydrate for your own personal threshold, you probably won't do well. But what's your personal threshold? Nobody can tell you. You have to figure it out for yourself. So, all I'm saying is, people who are looking for someone to tell them what to do and someone to tell them what kind of diet they should eat, at this point in medical science and dietary science, are going to be in trouble. You have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to look into things. You have to do the research as well as you're able to on your own. And if all else fails, you have to do the N=1 experiment on yourself, and you have to be honest about it. Okay? No one is going to be able to tell you what to do to optimize your health, for sure. You can get all kinds of suggestions. You can see what other people did that helped them. You can seek out anecdotes about other people who might have had similar conditions to your own and see what they did, and maybe that'll help. I personally, I got off the carbs, and that helped a lot. And then I started cutting out plants, certain kinds of plants, and that helped more. And then I started minimizing plants altogether, and that helped a lot. And I'm thinking about maybe eliminating some more things. I'm thinking about taking a time to eliminate dairy, although that's going to create issues for me. But we'll see. I'm so much better than I ever was before. And the curious thing is, I'm doing exactly the opposite of what every doctor I've ever known has told me to do. And that gives me a clue that my conviction that science just doesn't know for sure is actually true. Because if science knew for sure, and I was doing exactly the opposite of what the accepted medical science is, why wouldn't I be sicker than I was before? But I was doing everything that the doctors were telling me to do, and I was getting sicker and fatter by the year. More and more disabled, more pain, more bowel dysfunction, more gastric upset, more weight gain, and then more medications, more symptoms. And then I got desperate enough to listen to some kooky people, not kooky because they're spouting kooky information, but just kooky because they're fun and kooky. And that's me, by the way. That's how I feel. I'm just fun and kooky, and I like to be crazy. But I started doing exactly, as I said, the opposite. I started doing everything that the doctors told me not to do. They told me I had to exercise. I stopped. They told me I had to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Yeah, I stopped doing that too. They told me I had to cut down and limit my intake of saturated fat. No, I do exactly the opposite. I'm doing exactly the opposite of what the doctors have always told me to do. And my health, instead of getting worse, has gotten better by leaps and bounds. All of my mental problems, chronic depression, non-treatable by medication, years, decades of clinical depression, gone, gone, gone now. PTSD that I could not recover from because of the clinical depression. I won't say that's gone, but it's manageable. Intractable grief, complicated by the depression. Yeah, that's managed now. As I have said before, I'm 115 pounds down from where I was at my heaviest. My asthma symptoms are gone. I don't take any daily asthma medications at all. I don't take my thyroid medication at all. I have the energy to do everything that I want to do. I still have some sleep issues, but we're working on that. And there are some things that I think I could do to improve that. But my point is, I had to do the experiment. I had to get desperate enough to do the experiment for myself. I had done what all the experts told me to do and got sicker and sicker. And finally, I just decided this stuff sounds crazy, but as I've said many times before, I was praying for a miracle because I wanted to die. And so I figured, well, I've said this many times before. I figured, if this kills me, at least I'll be done. It'll either kill me or these crazy people have something here that I need and I'm going to try it. And I did. And I praise God for it because it was a miracle. It was my answer to prayer. So you have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to do the N=1 experiment, meaning you have to try it. You have to do it. You can't just wiggle in and out of it. You have to commit to doing it properly. And that means 6 weeks to phase into a truly low carb diet, and then 6 further weeks to try it. At least 6 weeks to phase into a low carb, and then at least 6 further weeks of sticking to it to see what happens. You know, you can do it. You can do it. You must do it. You must do the experiment for yourself. And you know what? If it doesn't work, then you'll know. You'll know you will have completely eliminated something that is a question, and you can say, nope, that didn't work for me, and you can move on to the next thing, because I'm telling you, you have to figure it out for yourself. Commit to looking into things, commit to doing the research as well as you're able, and commit to trying to make a change. You can do it. And all I can tell you is everybody that I have ever known that has started down the low carbohydrate path has improved. I firmly believe in our country, the US, that we have been led to believe that human beings are designed to eat foods that we are not designed to eat. But having said that, that's my opinion. That's my belief. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you to try it and see how you feel. And if it doesn't help you, try something else. But don't stop. Don't stop looking. Don't stop looking. There's hundreds of thousands of us out there that didn't stop looking, and we found something. And you know what? It almost never has to do with buying a supplement. It almost always has to do with an elimination diet of some kind. Yes, your health starts with your food. Don't give up. Keep trying. If you have any questions you'd like to ask me about my personal experience or what I did, you can contact me. Contact information is under the video. My point is not, my goal here is not to criticize. My goal is to say, just take responsibility and take care of yourself. And don't let the healthcare industry scare you with the accepted narrative, because you know what? They don't know any better than you do. I guarantee it. I love you. Peace, love, and meat. And we will talk again soon. Bye.